4:53 the next day. I heard a bang and it was gone. All right, we need to go about this. And looks like a 5 hex. It's gonna take out most of these screws. So we're gonna go around, start picking them off. It's gonna take a while. So they get stuck on there when they're rusty. All their screws are out. There they are, I think that's all of them. And we're gonna list those separately maybe. But here we go. Let's give it a good tap. Yeah, I don't know. Let's see. This is a hard line, probably for coolant, I'm guessing. Looks like it goes down to, I don't know, water pump. She doesn't seem to be budging yet. Did I miss something? I feel like I took all the screws out. These brackets are fine. There's one underneath. I missed one. Oh, that'll help. Question is, did I only miss one? There goes screws falling off. Jeez. There goes everything falling off. Yep. She's coming free. Now we'll get in there. Once that frees up a little bit, and we'll wedge a screwdriver in there and wedge it out. You can just carefully get in behind. I got in behind here and just gently pried it out a little bit there. Then I went around to here and gently pried it out there. Oh, I'm glad we have an oil pan, because oil's starting to fall out, which means there's actually oil in this engine, which is a good thing. But here we go. Let's see if I can get it pried out down here. I have bigger pry bar if I need it. But this is also going to have a magnetic pull on the inside because of the magnet and the stator. So the rotor is magnetic. There we go. Now she's free. Dropping that oil. Looks like a clean engine. Good. It's good to know that there's no metal shavings in it. I guess I could have just drained the oil by itself. Could have taken this spin-off cartridge oil filter off in the meantime. Should I do that? Shouldn't be too hard. See if it's tight. No, it's not a good angle with the center stand in the way. Can't really grab it. I have oil filter wrenches if I want to get it off. All right, I'll keep on prying this around and we should be able to pop this off and see our rotor and stator such stuff. Not sure if there's going to be anything holding this on yet. This guy's holding on. That's our stator wiring. Push that off as I just did. Okay, so we might have a buyer for the front fairing, but I need to get this bracket off because this is where it mounts to, and it also mounts underneath here into this guy, but that's on all bikes, so I can't really give that with it, but it slides up under there, so that is part of this, I think. Yeah, there's also a bracket here, but not sure what that's doing. I'll have to see if this is on my other bike. This guy, that doesn't seem to be doing anything extra, but I'll make sure that's on the other one. But to get this bracket off, we're gonna have to pull some things, get our gauges out of the way, maybe. This is just a different bracket than what's on the other ones. Looks like I have a 10 or 12 millimeter bolt right there. And that's this side. And it looks like probably a separate piece over here, but it's really buried down there. Gonna have to get this out of the way and get that bolt out. So hopefully it's just this and the other side. All right, the two 12 millimeter bolts right here are what hold the gauges in place. So now my gauges are loose, but all I had to do was take those out. These obviously are good brackets to hold your wires and your cables in place. And that's a nice design. It's a shame that all the bikes don't have them. But those two came out. And then the bottom, where that fairing sits, does slide into this guy right here. And that's just seemingly on all the bikes. So that's the bracket that stays with the bike. Gonna go look at my other one, make sure I don't have any other things that are special to this bike. So as we can see here, this does have this bracket, so that's where the other mounting point for the special fairings. And then here we have these brackets right here. They're actually just a smaller, not black, they're just a chrome piece, and maybe that changed from year to year. This is a 94 versus a 96, but that's what we have on here. So yeah, those do the job fine. It's pretty much the same thing, I guess, but a little different. And then we have the extra mount point for the fairing. Here you go, I'll show you the actual fairing. These screw into this and keep the top in line. And then down here, this is a little guy that slides in behind that other sucker. So that's what we have here. And let's see if we can make a sale. There is our fairing. Okay, well, I was told that this is the bike without the mounts. Now, I thought that thing just fit under here, but apparently I'm being told that I'm wrong, and that other thing is a lower mounting point bracket. And I'm sure this guy that I'm talking to knows. Plus, this thing is here. But what is this thing? How is that a mounting point for the thing? I guess this is it though. I don't even see anything that it does. But it's not on the other one. So I guess we have to take this bracket off. I don't know what it does, but it's there. So I guess that's what he wants. Plus it's the only other thing that's black, and my other bike doesn't have it. I don't know what this does, but I guess that's coming off. I don't know, I gotta get a screw out of here, looks like. And then these two bolts. And then the inside, I gotta get it off this side. Maybe those bolts go the whole way through. That would be easy. If I just have to pull out these two bolts and then get that screw off. That might work. All right, more 12s coming at you. Okay, I think this is kind of funny. What happened here, I believe, is that somebody put this back together and this bracket is on upside down. I think that's the screw that goes in the bottom of the cowl, but that should be down here, below here. And I think somebody jimmy rigged, I'll show you then, on the cowl, something that goes under here to keep it in place. So that's what I'm seeing. This is upside down, I believe. So now I gotta somehow, I bet if I take these two bolts out, it'll lift out of there. Because this screw, I don't think is doing anything. But someone routed the wires in there, and they probably, someone put a HID or a special HID headlight or something in there. And yeah, I think they put this bracket on upside down. So sometimes you don't know, but I looked at the diagram, and that looks like it's not on there correctly. Anyway, we can take it off. No problemo. All right, these two 10mm bolts came out. So I got them across. They did go the whole way through this mount point. And now I can probably just lift this out of here. I'm gonna have to figure out how to re-fasten this stuff if and when I need to. But I should be able to wiggle this bracket up and out of the way of all these cables and wires. So he should, oh, there goes the bracket. There goes the headlight. All right, so there's my bracket. So now, how does this, I gotta find a different way to mount this back on because I don't have anything going through there to secure this. Now, this is just free. So I guess, what, the other bikes have something else that goes through? So these bolts can go with this, but I still need those bolts for my other thing. For the gauges. So at this point, I just want to look here. So there's some nuts on this side. And then probably there's nuts on that side. I don't know what goes through there to hold it on. I guess there's something because this is now removed. All right, so one of these might be a nut. This actually might be a bolt head. And these are nuts. Yeah, okay, so just a different setup. So I'll send this with it. And then, yeah, this would probably go like this instead of the way it was and mount to the bottom. That's funny. So there's the bracket. He just got it upside down when he put it back on. Here we go, guys. I don't know if I took video that I needed to put on the beginning of this video, but here we are, either at the beginning of a video or at the end of a video. Or in the middle of the video, I don't know. But 94 Rhino lined Magna. We're gonna go ahead and pull this guy off. Now, we are gonna check the tire. Pretty sure this is gonna be down on air. And then we went to my buddy and got a new stem put in this one. So, solid. Shouldn't be leaking. And I did see this is a 120/80/17. We're swapping these over. This is a what? 120/70/17. So, same wheel. We're just gonna steal this. This was on the purple and white one, the 96 Deluxe. But what we did was, this is a decent front tire. But, as you watched in the previous video, I did find that it was leaking. Let's see how we're doing. All right, we're over 30, so that's probably about where you set it. Probably around 35. So at any rate, it's been about a week or so since I picked this up. So this thing is actually still holding good air. So all we gotta do is jack this up. We're actually gonna do this correctly because this is a bike that we are putting back to working specs. And we got the electrical problems fixed. And then we had the vibration on the front and the drivetrain, which I'm not gonna do. I'm gonna let him also do that. Because I'm a shaft drive guy, and I really don't mind just handing over anything having to do with the drive chain stuff until I really get familiar with it. Oh, we didn't check this tire pressure. Like I said, this one's probably down to like 5. Still have 20 in there, so not terrible. We'll just replace that cap. All right, so we're gonna go ahead. I might go steal bolts off the other bike because this has unmatching bolts. That's the factory ones. I think those are, what do they look like? 12s? And then these I think were 13s, and they're not obviously what belongs there. So I might go steal the other ones off the other bike because right now, we might just leave these as they are. So anyway, I'm gonna jack this up correctly, slide this out, and then we can just pop this wheel over onto here. And no one will know any better other than if I don't have a vibration, this one gets marked as a vibrating tire, wheel, whatever it is. Even it could be the rotor. the rotor could be bent from its accident. I think this is off of the wrecked bike. I've talked about it before. I just keep swapping them as I get bikes running. And this one just keeps getting delegated down to a bike that's not being worked on at the time. So we're gonna take the 96 wheel with the decent tire and pop it right over onto this. So I'm gonna carefully jack this up and latch it into place with the locker. It's kind of, you know, these Magnas, you can get this under the exhaust, and just be careful as you do it. But my jack doesn't hold forever, so I realized you really do have to lock it in, or it slowly works its way down. So I'm gonna jack this up and loosen up these wheels. All right, we are well off the floor. I'm gonna lock this down, but I'm not gonna leave this sit here like this for long. Just because I don't ever trust hydraulics. And usually you come back and find it's laying somewhere incorrectly. So I'm gonna go ahead and knock these off and do a quick wheel swap. I was 100% sure, or right, that these were 13s over here. These are 12s. They should be 12s. And then the 22 on the end of here, I had this guy on there, and then that loosened up this nut. All we gotta do is pull that off, and then our axle can pull through. Just lift up on your wheel a little bit when you do it, so you don't get anything dirty. The axle will pull through. From this side, we're gonna grab a screwdriver, which I brought with me, just to go through that hole. And then we can wiggle it out just like this. And like I said, now I'm gonna need another hand. Remember, you're gonna have your speedometer sensor there. You're gonna have a spacer over here that will fall out. Notice the lip on this side, and then you're gonna pull your axle through and let this wheel fall down. Just remember, if you want this caliper out of the way, see, I might have to separate these to get that rotor back in the middle. There, that'll be fine. Just make sure that's gonna catch if it's not open. All right, so that's open enough. And then we'll pull our spacer from here and just shift that right over here. Everything's clean. It's gonna slide right inside. There's our axle. Now I gotta lift this up into place. It's a little high, but I'm gonna shimmy this in the middle, make sure that rotor goes between the pads on the brake. You can remove the caliper, which I might end up doing anyway, because it'll be easier getting all this together. And then you're just gonna shimmy your axle right back through, make sure everything's lined up so it's easy to get through. Oh yeah, we have to install the speedo too. That's gonna be hanging down there at this point. So make sure you pop that back in and line it up with the little metal sucker that spins around this guy right here. So, well, that might not. Well, that does spin with the wheel, but then you got to stick this in here to line it up, and then we'll be good. It's a lot to think about, so maybe just take off your caliper. Easy enough. 14mm bolts, so you'll have that off in no time. You can pop it back on then. All right, by the way, I did take the brake off. It is 12s. Sorry, I said 14 in the last one. And make sure when you put your speedo in there, because you're gonna have to take it off if you don't, that this is comfortable and it lines up where it needs to. You don't want it facing down. You want it facing back, kind of where it was. Take a note of that before you do it. And then I drop my jack down to line this up so I don't have to hold it while I put the axle in. This should be good. So I can fish my axle across without holding the whole wheel up in the air. This shouldn't be a struggle. If you're having trouble getting it through, make sure the outer circumference here is lined up, and that you're lined up on this side getting through the spacer, and then the other side. I had greased this recently when I swapped wheels, so I don't have to do that. Find a proper wheel grease, and you should be good there. So now we got that through. This is all lined up. My line is coming off here. I think that should be just fine. I think it should be. That kind of goes in this fender thing if you have it. Mine's busted, but that should be okay, I think. Maybe it should be down a little bit, but I think it's fine where it is. And then that's gonna clear the brake caliper when we put it back on. That's gonna have to slide between the pads on there. And then everything should be good. We'll put this cap back on, tighten that down. I don't know the specs, but make sure you look them up if you need them for torque. And then we'll tighten the pinch bolts and we'll be done. All right, well, if you know me, I'm just gonna tighten these pinch bolts back down. Hold this while you're tightening this nut and you should be good. 13's here for some reason and 12's here, and then yeah, this is kind of out of the way, so I'm okay with that. Unless it doesn't work and it gets in the way for some reason, it looks good. And then these pads are separated. This is gonna be real easy. This took like 10 minutes, but I had to film it for you guys, so it took me a little longer. So we'll just slide that on. I think we're in a good spot. And I don't think this was catching. I think this is a good one. Having all kinds of trouble with brake calipers lately. There we go. That's on. Line that up. Our 2 bolts go back in. Line them up. Start them by hand. And then we'll tighten them down with the impact. There we go. These are always good. They don't really rust too bad because these are pretty good bolts. There, hand tight. Get them in, get them in, get them in, get them in. And I'm telling you, we might not have a problem with the vibration anymore. Go ahead, just tighten them, tighten them. That's all I want to do. And down here, these are just to hold this axle from moving. So that tightens the axle down. Good to go. Now we'll switch to 13s for this side and we'll be done and we can take a first spin. That's not going to be on this video. This is just finishing up our job here. At least we know that everything is good on the front end of this bike, hopefully. There we go. That's all tight. Now we don't have to worry about this thing falling down without a front wheel on it. And we can release this, pull it out, and hopefully no more vibration in the front from this wheel. Like I said again, if this doesn't vibrate, I'm gonna mark this wheel with a scarlet letter and it's gonna say wrecked 97 Magna vibration. Was it because, I think, like I said, this was a different tire. I think it just, I don't know. Again, I might get this balanced and see what is spinning. My buddy said he could put it on his balancer and see pretty quick if the rotor's out of spec. The rotor might be bent. That could be it. That could have just been sliding in the caliper. Whatever it is, it'd be hard to bend that alloy wheel without noticing it. Anyway, hopefully this is the solution for the 97 Rhino Line bike and we can get it back out. So I will see you guys on the next one. Thanks for following along. Let's just slowly release this down and we'll be done for the day on this bike. I'm gonna take it down to him. He can put a new chain on it if it needs it, or he'll lube it up and clean it and adjust it for me. Oh, you thought it was falling over, didn't you? No, the kickstand's down. I did get kind of nervous though. I wasn't sure. All right, so there we go. Sometimes that kickstand doesn't catch. So be careful out there. Be careful working on your bikes. Even though this is a lift, I don't always trust this stuff either. But there we go. Good times ahead. See you guys on the next one.